Hello YouTube. So I'm coming on today to show you guys how to make curry chicken. I am using, or actually let me correct myself, Indonesian chicken curry. I'm using this cookbook right here, so I will put the recipe in the description box below, as I bought this book at Big Lots a while back ago, and I'm finally using the recipe. So we're gonna get started. For this recipe, you're gonna need some potato starch, garlic, cumin, curry powder, salt and pepper. I'm not going to show you that. I'm using ginger paste. It calls for fresh ginger. Sesame oil, honey. This calls for rice wine vinegar. I don't have any on hand, so I'm just using some red wine vinegar. Coconut milk, and some vegetable broth. It calls for chicken, but I have vegetable right now. You're going to need half of a red bell pepper chopped up. I used the whole thing just because it's going bad. And I didn't have any green onions, so I'm using some white onion, just a little bit. And then I have here some grape tomatoes that I'm just going to cut in half. So to begin this recipe, we're going to get the oil going in the pan. I'm actually going to also mix in just a little bit of regular olive oil, just to stretch it out and keep it from burning. So right now I'm just adding in some oil to my pan, and then I'm going to move you guys over, because as my pan heats up, I'm going to add in the bell peppers and the onions. So just a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to add in, it says to add in the ginger, onions, and garlic. And then cook, stirring frequently for 30 seconds. And then we will add in the curry powder and the cumin. Cook for 1 minute. And then, oh, well, this is a slow cooker. We're doing this on the stove too, by the way. So I'm going to turn my pan on to start letting the oil heat up. And while it's doing that, I am going to point you guys down to show you guys me chopping up the chicken. So let me see if I can scoot you guys back just a little bit, so you guys are in the frame. I'm like struggling just a little bit today. Okay. I don't know why it's not wanting to cooperate. It keeps trying to fall. Okay, there we go. And then I move my chicken over here so I can get it rinsed and chopped up. Alright, so we're going to get to chopping this chicken. We're just going to cube it up. I'm going to try and not make too much of this, but just enough so we can have it for dinner and not have so many leftovers. Another thing about this is that I already cooked the brown rice that this is going to be served with. So that is already done, and I just cooked that in some vegetable broth just to give it just a little bit of flavor. So what I'm doing with the chicken is just setting it in a bowl that's currently just sitting in the sink right now, just so that it's somewhere. Plus my cutting board's not big enough for all of the chicken. And yes, I'm wearing gloves just to keep contamination down and so that I can move from thing to thing a whole lot faster after I'm done doing the chicken. Stop, don't touch my hands. No, you're not gonna touch. No, you're not gonna touch. But unfortunately, I don't have anybody here to help me with the littlest one, so I'm winging it by myself. But, you know, such is life, so it's all good. I would recommend, like, if you do look for this cookbook and get it, that you follow it as the directions are for the crock pot. So the next time I make this, I will make this in the crock pot. No, stop. You're making it hard to cook dinner because you want to touch everything. No, no, you're not going to touch. Alright, so let's see how much faster I can get this chicken chopped. So I'm trying to chop it really quickly, and it's a little bit of a struggle. So I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry. And if you have children, then you understand the struggle to get dinner done when there's nobody available to assist you and you got a little one that's grabby. And I'm actually about to turn the oil down because it is hot, and just so I can cut the other piece of chicken. So let me just turn this oil down to low. And I already rinsed my other piece of chicken, everybody, so I'm about to just throw it on the cutting board and get it chopped really quickly. No, stop it. So there we go, there's that. And now this should be simple, easy chopping. No. You keep trying to grab the chicken. It's raw, baby girl. It's nasty. No. I'm going to put you back in your jumper. And you can be mad at me and cry from your jumper. No. And I put you facing towards me so you would not grab. And here you are still trying to grab. Stop. No. Okay. So as I'm cutting my chicken, I am cleaning it. As you can see, I'm cutting off the fatty pieces and I am cutting them into smaller pieces. Noelle Grace, stop. This is because I have a lot of hungry mouths to feed. I have 2 children getting ready to be home from school. No. And so I want to make sure that there's enough, as I only defrosted 2 pieces of chicken, but I know how to make the chicken stretch. But this is just so you know. So if you have a larger family, it says about 1 pound of chicken is needed for this recipe. So I've got about maybe 2 pounds, something like that. Boneless, skinless chicken breast is what it calls for. All right, I'm almost done with this. No, little lady, stop. All right, so that's all chopped. I'm gonna get this moved, get these gloves off, and we'll go to the next step. Stop. Have your arms in here because you're doing too many things. All right, so my oil is hot. To my pan, let me move you guys up. Sorry, you guys are looking down. All right, so to my pan, following the recipe, we are going to now add in some ginger. We're gonna do the. Let me put the onion in. So there's the onion. And like I said, I lowered the temperature down. So onion. Oh, I need to open this. Okay, now I understand why I don't always use things in squeeze tubes. I normally don't have my nails done, so there's that also as part of the issue. So now, let me just get this screwed on. I'm just going to add in a couple of squirts of ginger. So there's the ginger, and then and some garlic. Okay, so there's that. So I'm going to just set that there. I'm going to close this off. As I use my items, I'm actually going to just set them over here on the side, just so I know I already used them and they're out of the way. Okay, so let me get me a spoon here. We're gonna get this going in the hot bowl. And so we're gonna do that. Once this is continued going, I'm not going to take the onion, garlic, and ginger out and put it in the crock pot. We already know that. So we're going to continue to cook this as if like regular. Okay, I don't know how to explain it, but if you're following along, you'll know that my crazy jabbering, that yeah. So I turned the heat up. I'm going to turn it up a little bit more. We're going to let this keep going. The other thing that I'm going to do, because the oil is hot, it's not going to take long to bloom. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the cumin and the curry powder. It says a teaspoon of ground cumin. I'm just going to shake just a little bit in here. Cumin can be just a little bit strong. And this is a seasoning that'll last you forever, so it's not like, yeah, it's not something that you're gonna like use a whole lot of, because it is very overpowering. And I'm gonna get this curry powder open. I've never opened it before, just this is my first use. Okay, so why am I not being able to get this outside? Yay me. Have to go get a Band-Aid. Yeah, Mama just hurt herself. Alright everybody, give me a few minutes as I just accidentally cut myself with the scissors and I need a Band-Aid. And no, I don't have blood everywhere before anybody becomes worried and thinks that stuff is contaminated. It's not. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I try to hurry back as soon as possible. I'm burning my cumin a little bit, but that's okay. Just because it's been sitting in one spot. And now we're going to add in the curry powder, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in. I'm not going to, let me just take this top part off, and we're just going to sprinkle it in there. Okay, that's kind of a lot, but it's all good. It's going to taste good. All right. The next thing that we're going to do is, oh, it smells so good. I wish you guys were here to smell the flavors, because it smells really amazing. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the chicken and the red bell pepper. Well, first we're going to add in, let me add in the red bell pepper, just so it's already in. And then I'm going to add in the chicken. And we're going to get it cooked. In goes the chicken. And we're going to let this cook up in this seasoning together. And while it's in this stage, cooking, I'm trying to make sure I get all the chicken coated in seasoning. And just so you know, you can adjust the seasoning to your palate. Okay, so one thing I am going to do is I am going to add just a little bit more oil into the pan, just to get the chicken cooked all the way through. Oop, and yeah, there's that. Okay, so we're going to make sure that the chicken is able to be cooked thoroughly. I mean, it's going to cook in the sauce too, but I just want to make sure that the chicken does get cooked. Okay, as the baby's trying to take stuff away. So we're going to let this just cook and brown. And then we'll add in the stock, the coconut milk, the vinegar, and the honey. And we're going to just let it cook. You do have the option to add in bok choy and cook that. And I'm going to do the tomatoes. But I don't have any bok choy, so it's okay. So we're cooking this on the stove. And like I said, I'm going to add in salt and pepper. I'm following the recipe with the ingredients that it is. And then after I do this recipe, I will make adjustments accordingly. So I'm going to add in some salt and pepper. And then if I feel like it needs more curry powder, I will add in more curry powder. And you know what? I think I am going to add in just a little bit more curry powder, but I'm going to do it after I add in the other ingredients. But while we are here waiting, I will be getting my potato starch ready to go in some water so that it's just ready. It's not just sitting here waiting. Let this go real quick, and then let me get a little bit of water. So one thing you guys want to do understand is that this recipe calls for arrowroot powder or arrowroot starch. I don't have that, but I have potato starch, which is similar. So if you don't have arrowroot, it's okay. Just use cornstarch or potato starch. Potato starch is a little bit more healthier than the cornstarch, so it's okay. And I'm going to just have this mixed up and ready to go for when it's time to add it in. So the chicken is almost done cooking. Please stop reaching for stuff. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm going to give this another good stir. And then after I add in the liquids and I let them go for a little bit, I will add in some tomatoes because I have that. Okay, so now I'm going to add in my liquids, and the liquids can help the chicken finish cooking. So it says here that we need to add in, where am I at? Some stock. So for the stock you need 1 cup, and what I have in here is about 1 cup. So I'm going to add that in. 1 cup. Oops. Try not to make a mess. And then you need 1 cup of coconut milk. And again, I'm using the So Delicious brand dairy-free organic unsweetened coconut milk. And I dropped the cap somewhere on the floor. I have to find it. And we're just going to add about 1 cup of that in. Okay. Where is the cap? I know I dropped it. Oh, there it is. I have to rinse it off. I'll rinse it later. Okay, I'll get that rinsed off. And then you need to add in the vinegar, which is, for vinegar, where am I at? For vinegar, you need 2 tablespoons, so not very much. And again, for the vinegar, I am substituting red wine vinegar for rice wine vinegar, just because this is what I have on hand right now at the moment. So we're going to add in a couple of drops, and there we go. Alright, and then we need to add in honey. And for the honey, it just says 1 tablespoon. So, there we go. That's it. Alright, and so that's all the ingredients going into the pan. We're going to let this come up. We're going to let this come up to a boil. And as it's trying to come up to a boil, I will be getting ready to slice up some tomatoes and get those added in. Ooh, bless you. And I'm also going to get another spoon, and I'm going to check for seasoning. There we go. There's that. Let me get a spoon. Okay, I will be adjusting the seasoning at the end, just a little bit, not very much. Has amazing flavor, so there's not much that really needs to be done to it. So, as I'm slicing these tomatoes, which I'm only going to slice them in half and add them in, I'm just going to add them into the curry. This is optional. You don't have to put the tomatoes in. Because it says right here, add bok choy and tomatoes and cook for 1 more hour or on low, or 30 minutes on high, or until bok choy is crisp tender. So I guess you do need to add the tomatoes. So I don't have bok choy, but I am going to add tomatoes, just so you know. So let me just grab a knife. And I'm just going to throw them in there. I'm not even going to worry about the seeds right now. We're just going to do a little bit of tomatoes. Not a whole lot. Because you're supposed to use a what kind of tomato is it? A plum tomato, 2 ripe plum tomatoes. You're supposed to remove the seeds, and you're supposed to core and remove the seeds and cut it into little pieces, so like little squares. So I'm just going to use some of these grape tomatoes, and so we're not wasting tomatoes. I'm just using what's on hand like usual. Oh, excuse me. I don't know what the heck is coming over me. Alright. And I'll probably have to go back and edit this video later on the computer, just so I can add in comments, like add in some additional information, which I'm able to go back and edit if needed. So that's a good thing. So I got that in there. This is coming up to a boil. So while it's coming up to a boil, I am going to add in just a little bit more seasoning. So just a little bit more salt. A little bit more pepper.